Hey guys, so I felt very called today to do a video reading, and this is my first video reading since I moved into my house in Toronto, so we'll see how it goes. So I pre-picked the cards before I started this video, and I don't know, it's a pretty cool reading today. So the first card that we pulled was Awakening, Energetic Upgrades, a New Wave Being Integration. So what this card is really representing for the collective is with the Schumann resonance recently, with how much light codes are being sent to the surface of the earth from the sun, from the galactic sun, a lot of people are waking up now. Everybody's going through this mass awakening, whether they're conscious to what it is or whether they're not conscious to what it is. Everybody's beginning to wake up. There are other people who have chosen to wake up earlier, and it's now time to integrate any knowledge and wisdom that you have learned and put it into your own life so that you can lead by example to those who are waking up now or for those who are waking up in the near future. We're being called to integrate everything and anything that we've learned into our own lives, because you can have all of this knowledge and you can go up to somebody and say that you have all of this esoteric, occult, spiritual knowledge, but what does it matter if you can't express that in your own individual life? Because you can have this knowledge, but if it's not integrated, you're not using it to the full abilities that you can access. And so I believe this is the universe's way of saying it's time to integrate everything that you've learned and put it into action. And that kind of goes along with our second card, which is Lemuria, which is creating heaven on earth. It's happening. If you don't know about Lemuria, Lemuria or Mu was a continent in the Pacific Ocean, and it was very spiritual. It represented feminine divine energy, whereas Atlantis, which was also continent at the same time as Lemuria, represented more of the male, divine, masculine energies. With Lemuria, it was really like heaven, or what people would perceive as heaven, which is everybody working in harmony together. There's no war, there's no violence, there's no poverty. It's just peace and unconditional love, happiness and acceptance, and that's happening again on earth right now. We are accessing these codes from Lemuria. When the civilization fell, they put a lot of these codes into crystals and stuff because they wanted this knowledge to be found again, because they were very spiritually advanced society. So whenever I see this card, I always feel called, if you ever come across a Lemurian crystal, buy it. You will download so much information that's going to really help you in restoring and balancing that feminine energy within you, so that you can then ground that feminine energy onto planet Earth. Because, as many people know right now, the planet and the beings on the planet are ascending, they're raising their vibration, and in raising their vibration, it's the balance between the feminine and masculine energies. And as we know, the masculine energies have had more power, you can say, but it's happening now. The divine feminine is rising. And just kind of like a little side note, if for whatever reason this card like calls to you more than the other ones, or you're just like, I really want to learn about Lemuria, I would highly suggest doing it, because as on a personal note, Lemuria has really helped me in my spiritual journey. Our next card here is Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. This kind of shows the third dimension of duality. It's black and white, it's gray. Up here we have the fifth dimension. It's more bright, light, open. It kind of has everything, right? Like you see the Sphinx here. You see some pyramids in the background, but those what I'm hearing is that if if you're intending to do anything in your life right now that has a spiritual benefit or a benefit to help yourself and other people, you are supported, you are divinely guided. Akasha, or the Akashic Records, is kind of a soul record of every single being who's ever lived on the planet. Has all of this knowledge, soul contracts, soul missions, and we actually have the ability to tap into the Akashic Records whenever we choose to through different forms such as meditation. So I believe that we're being really called to tap into this fifth dimensional energy so that we can learn a lot more information that we may not be able to see within this 3D, 4D physical reality that's going to help us on our soul mission. Because if there's things like soul contracts and stuff that are kept in the Akashic Records and you're currently going through a cleansing or purging, or you just feel very, very called to cut cords of the past, a lot of people you've met and issues you've gone through were actually contracts with other souls that you decided on before this incarnation to happen. And if it's something in the past, but it's still kind of lingering, you think about it every now and then, but you truly want to let it go, I would meditate on the Akashic Records to get a hold of those soul contracts that you created so that you can then destroy them and move on. But keep in mind, when destroying soul contracts, make sure you show gratitude and make sure you recognize how that soul contract served you up until now. So the next card that definitely goes along with the past two cards is Get Grounded, Empath, Highly Sensitive, Connect with Nature. So with this mass awakening that's currently happening on planet Earth, we have to be grounded into the planet, because we are really absorbing everybody's energy around us and everything's energy around us if we don't know how to protect our own energy, and that can lead to a lot of confusion, lack of boundaries, depression, sadness, because you're susceptible to more energies now, and if you don't know how to protect your own energies, things can get out of whack. And if you really want to follow the spiritual path and spiritual journey, getting grounded is a very, very important step, because in connecting with this earth, you are gaining the knowledge that the sentient being Gaia has, as she can transmit it through you if you are connected to her and you are open and willing to receive that information. Not only that, but if you are grounded to this earth, you are able to then be a pillar of light. You are able to take the beautiful energies of the cosmos and plant them on earth. You are able to plant the divine seeds. You're able to bring these energetic upgrades to earth. You are able to integrate what you have learned and not only help yourself, but help the entire planet. Because if you are an open channel and you are sitting connected to earth, if you're hugging a tree, if you're sitting on the ground, if you're in nature in any way, you can open up a pillar of light and ground these energies. You can ground fifth dimensional energies on the planet now, and now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. I just found it interesting that these cards were pulled together, because as I was in the middle of that channel of knowledge, you could say, I noticed how the colors kind of like go together. It's this like blue and this purple, because I think getting grounded is a key, because you can always be up here, you can always be outside of your body, but if you're always kind of floating out, you're not here, and you need to be here now in order to complete your soul mission. So I have one more card before I see if there's any final messages we need to hear. And the final card today is Don't Dim to Fit In. How are you dimming yourself or your light to fit in? When you're on this spiritual journey, sometimes your light can shine too bright for other people because they're not open to these energies, right? They're not open to this whole side of life. And so a lot of people are dimming themselves to fit in, to continue in this matrix-like reality, which doesn't serve you or doesn't serve anybody really, because in dimming yourself to fit in, you're dimming your light that you were so graciously given. And in dimming yourself to fit into a friend group, to fit into a relationship, that if you don't dim yourself to fit in, that won't continue. It's time to start letting it go. It's time to stop dimming yourself, because you are this magnificent multi-dimensional being, okay? Anybody who's watching this video, anybody who's not even watching this video, but obviously I'm speaking to the people who are watching this video, you're a magnificent being, and you don't deserve to have to dim yourself to fit into any situations that don't serve you or your highest good, okay? If you're in a group of people and I don't want to enforce that, the idea that separation exists, because we do know that separation doesn't exist. The law of one is universal law. So I don't want you to go out and think that, oh, I'm spiritually awake right now, I'm different from anybody else, and I can't dim myself to fit in because I'm awake and they're asleep. That's not what I'm trying to say, because I understand the negative implications of that. However, you can find people where you don't need to dim yourself. You don't need to be continuing these negative thought patterns and these negative habits with other people. You can say no. You have the ability to say no. You have free will. I believe it's really important on an individual level to just kind of meditate on this. Even if it's just for 5 minutes while you're grounding yourself to integrate. How am I dimming myself to fit in? Just think about that. Think about all of your relationships. Think about your daily habits. Think about your workplace. Any way that you're dimming yourself to fit in. Remember that you don't want to fit in. You want to stand out. I know that subconsciously might be very, very scary to people, because this knowledge that we do have and these powers that we are given, in the past we've maybe gotten put down, or in the worst case scenarios, persecuted and executed for this stuff. So it's kind of second nature and unconscious behavior for us to want to fit in with everybody else, because we think if we stand out, well, what if that happens again? But Spirit and the universe is here to say that it's time to let that go. You are guided, and you are divinely guided. Now is the time more than any other time on earth to be awake, to ground yourself, to create heaven on earth. You are guided. You don't need to dim to fit in anymore. You can be your own unique individual self. So I really like that card. I'm just going to shuffle and see if there's any last message before I close out this reading today. Any last message for the collective energy reading today? Anything that will benefit the collective and serve the collective in the most positive, high vibrational way. What will serve the collective energies today? Any last messages? Any knowledge? Anything? You know, when you're just I don't know if anybody who is watching this video does tarot or anything, but you know when you're just shuffling and you feel the vibrations in a card and you're that's it. Council of Light. Divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realm. This card is again saying your guidance is divinely guided. You can call upon your Council of Light at any time. You can call upon your guides. You can call upon your ancestors. You can call upon whoever you believe in It doesn't matter who you believe in. You can call upon them, and they are here to help. Free will does exist, and they want to help you. Your guides want to help you, but you have to ask. They cannot interfere unless you ask for help. So if any of the things that I've mentioned today seem like it might be hard, it might be, how do I integrate this? How do I stop dimming in? How do I get grounded? How do I access the Akashic Records? Ask. You don't need to be afraid. You don't have to do this alone. I know a large part of the spiritual journey is we feel very secluded and alone, hermit, if you will. But I think the biggest revelation is that we are never alone. I can tell you, I hear voices in my head a lot of these different guides that are here to speak to me and speak to the collective. I know whenever I'm doing readings such as this, they kind of just channel through me. Most of this isn't really me talking. It's kind of, well, divinely orchestrated, I guess you could say. But this card just wants you to know, like, you're not alone. You can call on these people anytime you want. And I love that. I love that came out in this reading. I feel like that was very, a nice closing. Like, to be honest, have goosebumps right now. Thank you for watching this reading. I hope that you were able to resonate to at least some of it. If some of it didn't resonate, again, it's a collective energy reading, so it may not resonate with everybody. But I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to book a private reading session, please DM me on Instagram. My @ @StarseedSloan, and I will have that below in the bio. Thank you for watching.